Yo, what's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the new Supergirl movie and what you need to know before you watch. So how this is going to work is we're going to go over the main characters, Ruthie, Creme, Supergirl, Lobo, and then there's also going to be Superman in there. But I'm assuming most people know about Superman because it's kind of like a follow-up movie to the Superman movie that people already watched. What we're going to do with these characters is we're going to give you their basic backstory, some facts about them, just like fun facts just for whatever whimsy, I guess, and then some reading recommendations. And since this is kind of linked to the Superman movie, I do want to give one shout out for reading recommendations if you guys did like the older Superman movie that just came out. This is Grant Morrison's and Frank Quitely's take on Superman. Plot of this is Superman flies a little too close to the sun trying to save some people. If you guys don't know, Superman gets his power from the sun, but if he has too much, his body just can't take it and it slowly starts killing him. And then the doctors tell him that he has a year to live and he has to do, I think, 12 heroic acts. If that sounds interesting to you, pick up this book. There's some gross on it. This is my personal favorite comic book of all time. Also, you can get this pretty decently sized story for $10 at your local bookstore. And of course, it has amazing art. Like, look at Superman there. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's get into our first character, Lobo, who will be portrayed by Jason Momoa. Let me tell you, this guy is like just genuinely the biggest embodiment of just straight evil. A good example of this is he comes from a planet called Zarina, and he's actually the only one of his race left. And that is due to one reason and one reason only, that he mass murdered his entire race just so he could be the only one that's his race. At the age of 17, Lobo decided to wipe out the others in his race through a swarm of lethal scorpion-like creatures. Basically, Lobo made a scorpion that could fly and told it just to murk his entire race. And the funny thing about his planet is that it was like the most peaceful place ever. These guys never had war. They didn't even get the idea of war because it was just such a chill planet. And then after that, of course, the only thing he has left to do is just go and kill people for bounties and make money. And that's basically just the simplified version of Lobo's backstory. Some fun facts I wanted to personally share about Lobo. He's a protector of space dolphins. Despite his brutal nature, Lobo also has a soft spot for space dolphins. And the best way to get killed by Lobo is to mess with space dolphins. I'm not even joking, it's really funny. But if you guys ever see like Lobo and a dolphin for some reason and you get confused, that's why. Also, Lobo died, and when he went to heaven, obviously he didn't get in for obvious reasons. Then he went to hell, and the devil said, "I'm good." And they kind of just sent him to like purgatory, kind of almost making him immortal. So they just kind of just threw him. I don't know what they did. He exists. I don't know where he exists though. Also, it's been stated that this is Stanley's favorite character, but my personal favorite fun fact is he killed Santa Claus. Lobo killed Santa Claus. And the funniest part of it is the Easter Bunny hired Lobo to kill Santa Claus. I'm gonna have to read this issue of when Lobo killed Santa Claus now. That's amazing. Reading recommendations, Lobo 1990. This is his first like single series where it's his series. It's just called Lobo 1990s. It looks pretty good. If you're into more like dark humor, I guess is the best way to describe him. Dark humor kind of, like lost its meaning because, like when you think of dark humor, you think about like the chuds on TikTok. It's dark humor, you wouldn't get it. Next reading recommendation is Crush and Lobo. This follows Lobo's daughter, and Lobo's kind of like the side character, but they're together. This one's more recommended for the more modern fans if you don't want to go back to the 90s, which I will say I used to think that way, but I mean these stories are genuinely timeless. But I mean, if you really don't like old books, or maybe you read the old one and you want something new, Crush and Lobo might be for you. And then the last reading recommendation is Next Level Lobo. This is a ongoing series, and what I've seen from it, it seems like it's been pretty well received. And I mean, also ongoing series are just fun, and it's kind of nice that there is an ongoing series, so I'd recommend that. Next up, we have Supergirl. Now, Supergirl's a little more complicated and has different origins. But basically, in the 2004 storyline, the Supergirl from Krypton, she was a 15-year-old she was a 15-year-old Kryptonian girl who was saved by her scientist father right before Krypton explodes. The cool thing about her is that she was actually there on Krypton and has a connection to the people of Krypton, and she survives in different ways. There's been force fields or her just being shipped off like Superman. Essentially, after being stuck for 30 years in space, she landed in Gotham City, where she's found by Superman and Batman, and then trained by Wonder Woman. So there you go. That's a reading recommendation right there if you want to kind of get her origin, the Supergirl from Krypton. Fun facts about her is, of course, she's a Supergirl, so she's like Superman, and they had to make her evil because you just have to make him evil. But she actually does this in a way I find a little cooler than a lot of the more uninspiring Superman stories where he's evil. Due to her immense, like trauma, she joined the Red Lantern Corps, which is like really, really cool idea. I feel like a lot of the evil Superman stories are overplayed, but it kind of makes a little more sense that she's like trauma and she's like, well, you know what? I just want to get revenge on everybody and I just want to kill people and I'm going to join the Red Lantern Corps. And that's like exactly the story that someone who's in the Red Lantern Corps would have. She's in love with the horse. She's in love with the horse. Supergirl's in love with the horse. It's true. Not actually. She's in love with a man who got turned into a horse. It's a whole story, but her horse, Comet, it's a man. Now, an actual fun fact that is pretty boring is she's gone by different aliases such as Flamebird or I think we should just go on to the next one. But before we do that, I do want to give some Supergirl reading recommendations. Supergirl by Sterling Gates. Same with Peter David's story of Supergirl, and my personal favorite Supergirl book, and the one that this movie is going to be based off that I think you should read, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. This will also go over the two characters that we're going to talk about, Ruthie and Creme. I know for sure Ruthie's origins in here, or Ruthie. I don't know how you say that, Ruthie, I think. I don't know 100% for Creme, but I'm pretty sure he also makes his debut in this book. I actually just finished this, and I really, really, really like this book. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Look at that. That's awesome, no? That's amazing art. It's really good. But I mean, like, look at this panel, too. Isn't that awesome, dude? Isn't that so awesome? I didn't think I was going to like Supergirl as much, but I read this book and I really like Supergirl now, so that's pretty cool. I will say the story isn't like as good as All-Star Superman, but All-Star Superman's also my favorite comic book. I give it a chill like 8 or 9 out of 10 though. It's a pretty good book. And now for Ruthie and Creme, I can't really give you fun facts for them, but I could tell you their basic story. Just read this book if you want to know about them. It's a pretty good book, like I said. I'll give you the gist of it. This is Ruthie right here. She is a farm girl who lives with all of her brothers and her mom. And one day, a man comes by. His name is Creme, who is also going to be in this book, and just kills her father. She doesn't know the intent of why she does this, but essentially, she figures out it and she tries to go and hire people to assassinate Creme. So she's on this path of vengeance and she's trying to get people to kill Creme for her. Supergirl, 21st birthday, she's just going around the planets getting drunk. What happens is the guy that she tries hiring kind of tries to pull one over on her and just steal the sword. And then Supergirl comes in and saves her from the dude. I don't even know his name. But basically what happens is that guy got pissed at her and went and told Creme, hey, there's somebody trying to go and kill you. And obviously Ruthie, seeing Supergirl display such power, thinks, oh, maybe I can get her to kill Creme for me. So she follows her, and then what happens is they get ambushed by Creme, and then she gets shot with this arrow. Now the thing about this arrow is it is a hunting arrow and it has poison on it. Poison meant for animals. And of course, Crypto, just trying to be a good boy, does get shot and poisoned by the arrow. And that kind of really just shows you this guy named Creme just killed this innocent man for absolutely no reason, and then went as far to shoot a dog. So it really explains how much of a horrible, despicable human being he is. So essentially through the book, follow Ruthie and Supergirl, and they're trying to hunt down Creme so they can get his poison and reverse engineer it to make a cure. And then she takes Ruthie along with her so she can spot Creme. But basically when Creme does get away, he joins like this, I don't know what it's called. They're like Vikings essentially, and they just go world to world, stealing and killing. And basically you follow Supergirl, who's just barely behind him the whole story, and you kind of see the characters develop together and grow their friendship. So at the end of the day, probably read your Superman books if you don't know much about Superman. This book's really good. It doesn't give you a whole lot of clues about Superman's origins or anything. It's more or less just a Superman book that you can get into. Amazing book though. I know a lot of people say it shouldn't be your first Superman book. You don't really need to know the characters. All you need to know is like the basic Jimmy Olsen. Like if you go on YouTube and watch a 10-minute video explaining the basics of Superman, you'll be just fine. And then this book, you need no prior knowledge because it's a super reinventive, you know, Supergirl. It explains her, and then the other characters, the main characters of the story, are only in this book. So you can just jump right into this book easy. Also with the Lobo, the 1991 is his first introduction of a solo series, so you can jump right into that, and it's widely considered the best Lobo book. So if you do want to get deeper in on these characters, maybe you're in the future watching this and you already watched the movie and you liked the character, you can go read that book, or maybe you're just interested in learning about it before the movie comes out like me. Anyways, I think I'm gonna maybe start that Lobo series. Hope you guys have a good one. Seriously, read one of these books. You'll like them. I promise you'll like them. They're pretty good. Bye.